Okay, let's just get right into it. What if I told you there's a multi-million-dollar asset out there with your name on it? One that you probably check less often than you check your social media feed. It's probably the most powerful wealth building tool you'll ever have. And yet, for most of us, we're completely ignoring it. And no, that's not some crazy exaggeration. For a lot of you out there, an account exists right now with your name on it that really does have the potential to be worth $3 million by the time you're ready to retire. So that's the big question, isn't it? Why is this incredible tool treated like some kind of mysterious box? You know, the one where our money just disappears inside and we just cross our fingers and hope it comes back bigger someday. Well, today we are going to pry that box open. To really get a handle on its power and, yeah, its flaws, we have to start with its pretty surprising origin story. You're not going to believe this, but the 401k was basically an accident. Yeah, you heard that right. It started as this tiny, overlooked provision in a 1978 tax law meant for high-paid executives. But then a benefits consultant named Ted Benna had this genius idea. What if everyone could use it to save money before taxes? Well, companies absolutely loved the idea because it was way cheaper than funding pensions. And just like that, the entire responsibility for retirement shifted from your employer directly onto your shoulders. And this, right here, is why that shift matters so much today. The average Social Security benefit is about $21,000 a year. Just take a second and look at that number. Could you live on that? I mean, really. For most of us, the answer is a hard no. That massive gap you see, that's what your 401k is for. It's not a bonus, it's not extra, it is the foundation of your entire future. Okay, so we know it's essential, but how does it actually, grow into millions of dollars? Well, it all comes down to some simple and, let's be honest, kind of uncomfortable math. So let's take an example. Say you're 30 years old, making about 70 grand a year. If you put away 6% into your 401k, you could wind up with around $700,000. And that's not bad at all. But just look what happens if you bump that up to 10%. That final number jumps to 1.2 million. That tiny change in your paycheck today creates a $500,000 difference down the road. But here's the real kicker. As powerful as your contribution rate is, there is another force at play that is way more powerful. And it's the one thing you can never, ever get back. Just look at the insane difference 5 little years can make. Starting at age 25 instead of 30 adds another $400,000 by retirement. Now, think about that. You only put in about $50,000 more of your own money during those 5 years. The other $350,000, that's pure magical mathematical growth. Those 5 years from 25 to 30 could literally be the most expensive years of your entire life to not be investing. This famous quote, which people always say is from Einstein, just nails it. It's your money making money, and then all of that money making even more money. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. If you get it on your side, it builds you a fortune. If you ignore it, you end up spending your life paying it to somebody else. So if the formula is that simple, right? Just save money over time. Why isn't everybody a 401k millionaire? Well, because there are these hidden traps, these invisible wealth killers that silently drain your account without you even noticing. There are really 3 main culprits here, and they seem so small, almost insignificant at first, but trust me, over decades, they are absolutely devastating. We're talking about high fees, making a mistake when you change jobs, and maybe the worst enemy of all, our own fear. First up, fees. A 1% fee sounds like nothing, right? Wrong. It's huge. That 1% isn't just taken from your contributions, it's taken from your future growth year after year. Over a 35-year career, that seemingly tiny fee can siphon off over $200,000 from your final balance. It's like being robbed in slow motion. Next up, changing jobs. This is such a critical moment, and a staggering 40% of people, that's almost half, make the worst possible decision. They cash out their 401k. They see that check for a few $1,000 and they take it without realizing the true cost. Because this right here is the true cost. Cashing out that $30,000 is not a $30,000 decision. See, you're not just losing the money you have today, you are killing the money it was supposed to become. Thanks to the power of compounding, that small withdrawal is a $300,000 mistake. And finally, there's panic. Let's just use the 2008 crash as a perfect case study. People saw their account balances get cut in half, they got terrified, and they sold everything at the absolute worst possible moment. But the people who did nothing, the ones who just ignored their accounts and held on, they saw their balances not only recover, but triple over the next decade. The winning move was to not play the. Now we have to talk about the catch, because the 401k is an incredible tool, for sure, but it is kind of a deal with the devil, and the terms are written in some very fine print that most of us never bother to read. And that fine print is a little word called illiquidity. Basically, in exchange for all that tax-advantaged growth, you agree to lock your money away for decades. You can't touch it without facing huge penalties until you're 59 and a half. That's the trade-off. You're building a fortune that you cannot use for a very, very long time. And here's the other big reality check: inflation. Having a $3 million account in the year 2060 sounds absolutely amazing, but it won't buy what $3 million buys today. After you factor in average inflation, its actual purchasing power will be closer to about $1 million in today's dollars. Now, that is still life-changing, but it's really important to be realistic about what these numbers actually mean. And this really brings us to the whole point of this entire endeavor. The goal isn't to buy a yacht or fly private. It's to buy freedom. It's about having enough money that you get to work because you want to, not because you have to. It's about having options. The real goal is autonomy. So with all of that in mind, the incredible potential, the hidden pitfalls, the hard realities, let's just boil it all down into a simple, actionable playbook. All right, here it is, the simple path. Number 1, start as early as you possibly can. 2, always contribute enough to get the full employer match. It is literally free money. Don't leave it on the table. 3, bump up your contribution by 1% every year. 4, choose boring, low-cost index funds to avoid those wealth-killing fees. 5, when you change jobs, never cash out. Always roll it over. 6, during a market crash, do nothing. And 7, the hardest part of all, just ignore it for 30 years. That's the whole game. But let's end this with a really important question. The 401k was created to replace pensions, right? But what if it only really works for people who were probably going to be okay anyway? What if, after 40 years of perfect discipline, things like runaway healthcare costs or changes in policy mean that your millions still aren't enough? And this is the final, most crucial takeaway. The 401k system is flawed. It is not perfect, but it is the best broken tool that most of us have. And refusing to use it because of its imperfections is the only way to guarantee failure. The path to a secure future demands that you engage with this tool, that you understand its rules, and that you play the long game, because the math, for those who stick with it, is still on your side.